Because I don't want to see you thrusting anymore.
Why not?
Because it's okay. Stop thrusting against your head. Stop freaking doing that, man. I'm not gonna have you ride my arm.
Okay, hold on, let me get over it.
Show Xeros here with the HartnettHorrorFiles crew. With, if you can't hear him, and
Vandal.
Yes.
225.
Fucking Fondle. It's 255. Alright. Bringing you part 3 of Rainbow Factory from my computer.
Your computer sucks.
Yes, it does. It really does. I'm going to get a drink of my freaking rum, you know, my Mountain Dew.
Alright, get up. My water go.
Whoa, bro. It's taking a bit too far there. My nipple. Alright. 255, you want to go ahead and start off?
Start here?
Yeah, at the highlighted area.
Alright.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
We need to make an intro.
Here. Oh.
I'll hold this way.
Let me tell you again why I don't give a fuck.
You're giving a fuck.
This place, this architecture, it's also familiar.
Architecture.
Architecture. It's also familiar. I think we're in the weather factory. Orion frowned. That can't be right. We were traveling for way too long. We've got to be far from question now, not to mention the city. Actually, Scootaloo may be right. Aurora mused. I noticed it was maybe the same amount in time from when we left the Coliseum to the place the carriage driver swapped. That was from the swap place to here. But, I don't know. I'm confused. Maybe that's just a coincidence. Welcome, mules, a large and powerful voice commanded. Several of the seated ponies moved to make way for a deep, dark red Pegasus dressed in a white lab coat. You degenerates are probably wondering where exactly you are. Stupid fillies. You're in Cloudsdale, the Rainbow facility to be correct. Allow me to show you around. What's going on here? Do you expect us as to use us as slaves? Because I'd rather be deported, thanks, Scootaloo yelled. Orion and Aurora got off their seats and stood behind Scootaloo, nodding in agreement. Like you failures have a choice. You'll be here the rest of your lives. Oh, I'm sorry. Where are my manners? I am Dr. Atmosphere. My degree isn't a medical one, I shall reassure you, in case you're picturing some dreadful surgery going on behind the scenes. Strange how so many worthless Pegasi get the idea. No, my degree is in engineering. I'm one of the 4 colts in this facility. I'm sure you've all had a tour of the lower factory, no? The 3 ponies nodded slowly, unsure of what was going on. Excellent. Who can tell me where the tour begins? Orion spoke up first. Where the spectra comes from upstairs in its mix. Very good. What a pity you're utterly useless to the flock. You could have been a smart one, Dr. Atmosphere smiled sadistically and patted Orion on the head. But today, we're on the upper floor. Please, follow me and don't get too far behind, or one of my helpers will be forced to encourage you. With that, he winked at the suited ponies. With nods, 3 of them at the rear leaned forward and jabbed each of the Pegasi with tasers, shocking them to the ground. Dr. Atmosphere whinnied in laughter as they all yelped and fell.
Hey Vandal, do
and
me a favor and
continue.
hand me my Mountain Dew. Thank you.
Dot the atmosphere whinnied in laughter as they all yelped and fell, and continuing to soft chuckle as they all stood up again. Scootaloo blinked more tears from her eyes and shook herself again, trying to lose the tingling in her nerves. She turned and quickly looked at each of the suited ponies, catching each of them in the eye when she could. None of them were the rosy-eyed pony from the carriage. Begrudgingly, she started walking behind the red engineer. You simply must be careful in this department, Dr. Atmosphere began in a tone not unlike the many Torgu. You know what, if you're going to ask me to do this, I won't ask for your respect.
Alright, I'm sorry.
Sorry about that, people. Dr. Atmosphere began in a tone not unlike the many tour guides in the lower floors.
What?
There's plenty of nooks and crannies and vents and vats one could fall into. One must be careful not to hurt themselves. After all, you're all hopeless as it is. Any more so, and we even couldn't use you. He glanced behind himself maliciously as the three foals frowned at insult. They were walking down a series of halls with vibrating machines and assembly lines lined the way,
Whoa, bro.
occasionally ducking under low-hanging wires or carefully stepping over steaming pipes. As they walked out, though, the building became cooler and cooler. All three were watching, sensing, looking for any way out. They couldn't see any. Now, let me tell you a story. Cloudsdale is where the weather is made. Without us, the rest of Crusher would be starve, freeze, drown, and generally be a not very happy place. This gives us a special honor, one that can't be tainted by incompetent foes like you. How could the world... Oh my god. How could the world look up and trust us if Pegasi like you are flying around wearing the Cloudsdale name? No, we need to do something with all of you. And then we got a delicious idea one day over 1,000 years ago. Those were some smart ponies back then, I'll say. You don't find too many of them these days, but I digress. Haha. Here and now, through these doors, quickly now, before more encouragement is supplied. Dr. Atmosphere opened a heavy-looking door in a cramped corridor and offered a hoof inside. Scootaloo stared up at him. He glanced at a suited pony. Scootaloo and the others walked inside as he laughed again. Enjoy the rest of your pitiful life. With that, he slammed the door closed. They all turned and looked at the big room they had been led to. It was fairly open and empty, almost like a theater room. At one end of the room, there were 6 square vats. Each one nearly filled individual spectra. Above them was a peculiar-looking machine. From a central stack, 6 hoses broke off and led above each of them individual vats.
There's a keyboard over there.
At the top of the stack was a single opening, red with rust, despite the rest of the machine to be shiny and clean. Even further above, that was a fairly complex-looking object, with chains and gears hanging off the beams and pipes loosely. Running even higher than the whole machine was a length of scaffolding, with doors on either side leading out of the room. Down on the floor, a small collection of defeated crime ponies sat, chatting quietly. Those suited there. Those are from the other flight school across town, Aurora informed, sounding shocked. And these ponies, sitting over there, see? I remember a trip we once went on with Levitating Acres Private School. I remember them from the trip. So, this is where all the failures go? Not deported, but forced to work forever, Orion said quietly. In exchanging for helping someone, he had doomed himself and his good friend to a life of servitude. Scootaloo reached a reassuring wing over and lifted his chin. She smiled at him, understanding his depression. At least we don't have to go through it alone, she cooed softly. Suddenly, there was a commotion in a group of ex-students. One pony from an unidentified school took off, heading towards one of the doors of the scaffolding. Immediately, 2 suited ponies launched at record speed and both clipped the flywheel with their tasers. The pony spasmed in mid-air, and then dropped like a stone. With audible cracks and a violent burst of twitching, all the other ponies walked back, staring horrified at their friend. They watched, hopefully, for a long time. He didn't move. Some cried softly, most others turned away, too far confused any more emotions. I guess that option's out. Aurora said to no one in particular.
But you can't fly right now, anyways. Orion questioned. That medic guy, Patches, or whatever he was called, he popped my wings back into their joints and bandaged up where my skin tore. What was that? Okay. Bandage up where my skin tore. I won't be winning any races, but where am I? Where was I actually?
Oh, you having
But
trouble?
I can fly
Okay.
again.
But I can fly again. They slowly walked forwards, enjoying the group of ponies, looking at each other with understanding sorrow. Eyes front and center, you inept mules.
What
One of
were
the
we just
suited-
trying to read out there?
I don't know.
Inept.
Yeah, inept. One of the suited ponies shouted. After the previous display, no one challenged that order and stared at the scaffolding just as one of the doors opened. How, you ask, are they up to the desk? To which the answer is in a simple facility. A few official-looking Pegasi walked in on the scaffolding and turned to look down on the group with disgust. One of them stood onto a small podium set up in the center and began speaking loudly and clearly. By now, you've all clearly determined that you are not going into exile. There is no deportation. There never was. You are in the factory. You will never leave the factory. And while you may be called useless, that's also not entirely true. You're worthless to the flock as a pony, but you still have purpose. Purpose to all the ponies in this land, far and wide.
1930s villain?
You get to help us make rainbows! Beautiful, magical rainbows! Doesn't that excite you? Yeah, it totally gets me so hard.
Sounds like a free
The mysterious announcer grinned ecstatically, taking in all the disgust and giving my Mountain Dew looks from every foal on the floor below him. Optical read.
Where are you at?
I thought so, he chuckled. It is just such an honor.
Okay,
you know.
Vandal can read.
It
Optical
leaves
change.
every pony entrusted with the task speechless too. Now, do we have any volunteers? Again, every pony below glared with hate. One brave pony, a light pink one from Levitating Acres, walked forward a few steps and yelled, "How could you ever get away with this? How could Celestia or even Luna know about this and tolerate it? It's slavery! It's torture!" I think you'll find out it's more than that. A second official pony walked out of the shadows and up to the podium. The pony was in a suit and masked. The first pony walked off the pony and allowed the second to speak. Scootaloo noticed it was the rosy-eyed pony from before. She watched more intently now. The voice was familiar. 1,000 years ago, when Celestia banished Luna from Question and sent her to the moon, she was charged with 3 tasks. She was originally in charge of raising the sun and showering the land with rainbows, but with the moon being an additional task, she had handed down the responsibility of rainbows. Celestia entrusted the Pegasi Cloudsail to make her rainbows for her from then on. For the first dozen years, we were given powerful unicorns that helped create Spectra. Spectra is a pure pigment, pure color. Everything is full of spectra, but you can't just harvest it. You can never separate color from an object, so it was made artificially with magic. The masked pony never took her eyes off the brave pink one. That is, until our top engineers made a breakthrough. They discovered an ingenious way to extract pigment. It was so beautiful even a simple machine could do it. But it couldn't be done with just anything. The conditions had to be right. What did those horrible people do? The pink Pegasi screamed, growing angrier by the minute. The mysterious pony whipped off her mask, unveiling her more than her rose eyes. Her skin was light cyan, and her mane a gorgeous rainbow. Several of the fielders gasped. Scootaloo's knees weakened as it hit her. It was Rainbow Dash. Scootaloo's thought raced through her mind, and and the room started spinning. It couldn't be. An evil twin, maybe? Perhaps a neglected sister? Rainbow Dash couldn't be this evil. She was our friend, her mentor, her own family, if not by blood. How? How was all she could think. It had to be live